when I'm talking about self-regulation, first of all, regulation for me is really about being at cause for what is happening with the self. The self is your entire being. So it's your mind, it's the things that you think, it's the things that you know, it's the things that you believe. It's also the emotions. What are you feeling? What are the stories that accompany those feelings? And consequentially, what are you doing? How are you showing up? Are your emotions in control, regulating how you show up in the world? And if they are, how can we regulate our emotions? And when I'm talking about regulating emotions, I'm not talking about bypassing them. I believe that all emotions are intended to be felt, but some emotions are meant to be springboards. They're not meant for us to live in. We are meant to experience them, to process what is going on emotionally, mentally, physically within us, and then process that and move that out of ourselves so that we're no longer regulated by those thoughts, by those beliefs, by those emotions, and we get to show up differently. So self-regulation is really about being at cause within yourself. And in order to be at cause within yourself, you have to be connected to yourself. And that's in any given interaction. So say, for example, you have a relationship at work or a relationship in your personal life that is challenging you. It's challenging how you feel about yourself. It's challenging you in that it is causing you to feel certain emotions that you don't like. And it's causing you to tell yourself certain stories about what is really happening, about what is going on in your life. And when we experience these relationships, these situations that cause us to go into a dysregulated state, meaning that something outside of us is regulating the self. So we are not regulated, we are dysregulated, we are out of balance, and we're out of homeostasis, which means that nothing is in alignment with the self. When we experience these situations, relationships, etc., we have an opportunity to, one, recognize how these situations have pulled us out of being at cause, right? And so the first thing is really recognizing that we're in a consciousness, we're in a conscious state of things happening to us, meaning we are not in control, that all of these things are making me, etc., XYZ, whatever you are feeling, whatever you are thinking. And that is the first sign that we are dysregulated and that it's time for us to really take a deep dive into the situation, into our thoughts, and into the scary thing that we call emotions, because we will do a lot to avoid looking at certain emotions because, like I said, it's a deep dive. Emotions are connected to stories and thoughts and feelings, and the ones that we avoid the most are the ones that we quite possibly are the most deeply rooted and ones that create the greatest amount of harm. And so the first step to regulation, self-regulation, when we recognize, after we recognize that we're in a dysregulated state, is to accept the situation for what it is without judgment, without an attachment to this situation makes me feel XYZ, right? This situation is bringing up feelings, and we get to look at those feelings. We don't have to be attached to those feelings, that this is what we're going to feel every time we experience this person or this situation, right? So we get to really look at ourselves and say, what am I feeling? You can do this through journaling. You can do this through speaking to yourself out loud, speaking your truth. For some people who spend a lot of time censoring themselves, speaking out loud is really important, because writing it down can still feel like you and your feelings and your thoughts are being silenced. And so using your voice to say the things that you are experiencing. And also thinking about other situations that this emotion may be connected to, and recognizing how those interconnected relationships and situations may be adding to the stress of this particular situation. So sometimes we have a history. Say, for example, we had a parent that didn't see us, didn't allow us to speak, didn't allow us to have our own opinions, and we felt silenced by them. And then we're in the workplace and we're experiencing a similar thing where someone is silencing us, someone is not respecting us. And so the emotions that we feel are connected to the work experience, but there's also this deeper dive of having experienced that as a child and being aware that that is a much deeper wound than what's happening at work. And sometimes when we have those deeper wounds, it can cause us to have an exaggerated response to some people's perspective on that issue. But the response isn't exaggerated. The response is actually adequate for the pain, for the harm that needs to be healed. So after we step out of the consciousness of things are happening to us, we step into, okay, I'm having this experience, and this experience is allowing me to vocalize the harm that I'm feeling, allowing me to use my voice. It's allowing me to also go back and recognize that this isn't just about this. This is also about something else that I've experienced. And now, with that awareness, you've expanded self, your awareness of self. You've expanded an understanding of how and why this is impacting you. And as you do that, you step out of the perspective of the problem, of the situation, that particular situation, and you have a better view. You have a more elevated view about solutions to this challenge. Because one, I believe and know that this universe is not only progressive, but it is complete. It is balanced. And so there is no problem that we see, that we face, that does not have a solution. There is no problem that we face that doesn't have a solution. And so now we get into a space where we are elevated to see our power in this situation. One, we have the power to recognize the harm that we have experienced previously. We have the power to speak our truth. And in doing that, we bring healing, a measure of healing to that situation. And then also, now we're stepping into a place of power where we're no longer looking at the situation as happening to us. We are looking at the situation as an opportunity for us to grow, for us to heal, for us to become more aware. And now we have more power. We have way more power. And that's where we get into this place where we can now focus on what's out of alignment. What is out of alignment with my personal truth? Well, if you are in a situation where you're feeling unseen, unheard, in a place where you feel that your opinion doesn't matter, that is because you are perceiving the power from the outside. Now that you're in this elevated state, you know that you have good ideas. You know that what you think and what you feel is important. It's time to get in alignment with your personal truth. And your personal truth is that you're here on purpose with a purpose, that you know yourself better than anyone else. And so anyone else's opinions about what value you carry shouldn't be where you measure your value. Your value needs to be measured from within, from who you know that you are, your strengths, your talents. And if you are lacking in feeling your value, that's a place of power for you to get into a place of action. So it's time for you to look at the value you bring to the world. Be conscious about it every day. Be conscious about how you interact with people and the ways in which you serve and you are a blessing to others, and the ideas that you have. You may have really good ideas, but you may be ignoring your good ideas yourself. So not only is that person at work not seeing you, not appreciating you, not only did your parent not see you, appreciate you, or allow you to use your voice, maybe you're not seeing you and hearing you and appreciating the value you bring. And that is how we give to ourselves. That is how we become the driving force in our own lives. That's how we regulate ourselves, by understanding ourselves. So this may mean that you need to spend a greater amount of time on yourself, listening to yourself. Maybe now this means that journaling is a practice that you need to employ so that you can learn more about your emotions and your thoughts and your ideas. Write down the ideas that you have. Don't just have them and let them pass. Honor your ideas. Honor your voice. And as you continue to do that, you elevate even more to this place of understanding your value, understanding your worth. And so when you show up in a place and someone doesn't see it, one, you know how to affirm yourself. You know how to give to yourself that which you may be expecting others to give to you. You're no longer depending on someone on the outside to affirm and appreciate and see you. You are affirming, appreciating, and seeing yourself. And that is how you regulate your emotions. That's how you regulate your thoughts. That's how you regulate your actions. And once you have all of those things in alignment with one another, then you become a whole different person. On a level, a cellular level, you have changed your thoughts, your beliefs about yourself, You have transmuted your emotions. You have elevated to an awareness that you have the power to command your experience, and that you know the things that you need to support you. And you do those things. And so now, like I said, you become a different version of yourself. You become a more whole version of yourself. And that's not to say that you'll never have a problem again around that area. It means you know how to regulate the dysregulation. It means that you now have a tool in your toolbox to use that will assist you in elevating over the perspective of the problem and into the realm of power and possibilities. So I hope this explanation of self-regulation is helpful. I think that, I gave an example of how it can be used, but the formula is still the same. And it's to recognize the dysregulation, understand that in the dysregulation, we are not in our power. It's about processing that information, processing and inquiring within yourself what is happening, feeling those emotions, allowing them to be felt, and then transmuting them into a powerful energy that can support you in making powerful decisions, in being in control, in acting in ways that support the change that you want to see.